Many foreign nationals are demanding that their children who were born in South Africa should automatically be given South African birth certificate and recognized as South African citizens. But the South Africa government has something different for them. No, according to the government, being born in South Africa does not automatically make a child a South African citizen. Let's hear it from the mouths of the government of South Africa so that all this struggle, all this wuru these people are doing, they will understand what South Africa has. So there are a lot of restrictions nowadays. Don't think that because they say citizenship by birth, South Africa is not interested in that one because a lot of people has used it to manipulate many countries. So let's hear what they have to say.
Children born in South Africa to foreign national parents do not automatically become citizens. That's the ruling of the Polokwane High Court. It dismissed an application by Zimbabwean parents who wanted their children issued with South African birth certificates. Now, for some clarity on exactly what works and what the intricacies of this are, Gary, a very good morning to you. Now, common belief and common perception from the layman is that if you are born in a country, you automatically become a citizen of that country by virtue of birth. But clearly this is not the case.
It's certainly not the case in South Africa. Before the 1st of January 2013, if a person was born in South Africa of a single permanent resident parent, that person was born a South African citizen. After the 1st of January 2013, in order for a person born in South Africa immediately to be born a South African citizen, at least one parent must be a South African citizen. In fact, if a person is born anywhere in the world, South Africa, Kenya, Russia, United States, and one parent was a South African citizen at the time of that person's birth, that person would have been born a South African citizen if one parent was a citizen at the time of the birth and is not subject to a birth registration. In law, that person would be a South African citizen. Polokwane case that you have referenced dealt with a person born in South Africa, a minor child, born of a parent who was neither a South African citizen nor a permanent resident, and therefore the person was not born a South African citizen. Citizenship is a creature of statute, and if the statute does not enable the person to tick all the boxes for citizenship, for a qualification for citizenship, the person is not a South African citizen or doesn't qualify for citizenship. And that's what happened here.
So let's look at countries, Gary, that do apply or put in place what is called birthright citizenship. And I guess the common example that we all make reference to is the United States. If you're born in the United States, there are no ifs, ands, or buts. You will become an American citizen.
That's quite right. There are few countries like that where you are born on that country's soil. Just because of that and nothing else, you're born a South African citizen. But citizenship is becoming more restrictive in various parts of the world, including South Africa. As time passes, our laws are becoming stricter and stricter regarding citizenship. In fact, South Africa's white paper on international migration, adopted by the Zuma cabinet in 2017, suggested that people should never graduate to citizenship by naturalization, even though they might have held permanent residence for the last 50 years. And that might be coming. That might become law in this country. It's always been the case that if a permanent resident of South Africa has resided in South Africa continuously for at least 5 years, that person would qualify for citizenship thereafter. And this government wants to change that and sever a permanent resident's right to qualify for permanent residence. So as time moves on, South Africa, and that's the country of our focus this morning, citizenship is certainly becoming more of a restricted species.
Let's focus, Gary, on this particular case. In this instance, the gentleman was in South Africa, from my understanding, on a work permit. His partner was here on a visitor's permit. They then have given birth to their 3 children in South Africa. But what the court said here is that they failed to establish the grounds for citizenship in terms of either birth or naturalization. Explain that to us. The birth part you have. Talk to us about the naturalization.
Yes. So, as I said just now, a person born in South Africa and neither of their parents are permanent residents or citizens, just like in the Polokwane case you've referenced, are not born South African citizens. And therefore, they won't be issued with printed birth certificates. Printed birth certificates are certificates printed with information held by South Africa's so-called population register, administered by the Director General in terms of the Identification Act. And it is only information of citizens or permanent residents that's uploaded into the population register. And that explains why persons born in South Africa who are not born citizens do not get printed birth certificates. They get printed.
So Gary, in this instance, Gary, what do they get? Because a child has been born, they've got to be noted in one way or another. What does the hospital give to the parents?
Well, they certainly, their births are noted. That information is kept on a birth register, but that information is not kept in South Africa's population register, so they are given handwritten birth certificates, not printed birth certificates. And in this particular case, as far as I understand, the parents wanted printed birth certificates. Printed birth certificates are only issued to South African citizens or permanent residents, and therefore these children were neither. So they didn't qualify for South African citizenship by birth because they were not born of parents who were citizens or permanent citizens at the time of their birth.
Should bring some relief for many children born in South Africa to foreign parents are now eligible to apply for South African citizenship. This after a 4-year legal battle. The Constitutional Court concluded the agonizing journey with hopes that it will be a happy ending for those who consider South Africa to be their home. Let's unpack this now and with Legal Resources Centre attorney Kensani Motileni. She's in our Cape Town studio for us this evening. Kensani, good evening and thanks so much for your time. Can you simplify for us what the significance of this ruling actually is?
Okay, so the significance of this ruling is that children that were born in South Africa, even even adults who were born in South Africa many years ago, will now be eligible to apply and get South African citizenship. This means that, as you know, is that citizenship is a gateway right. They would now be eligible to vote as South African citizens for the first time, and they'll be able to access the same opportunities just like any other South African citizen.
So this is retrospective. How far back will it actually go?
If it's retrospective, it means that it includes everyone who was born before the Amendment Act, which came into force on the 1st of January 2013. So it actually includes everyone it includes everyone and everyone that is still going to be born in South Africa to foreign national parents.
Hey Celeste, I got a question.
What's the question?
If the mother is South African and the kids are born in South Africa and the dad is a foreigner, can the dad get a South African ID?
The answer to this question is no. Just because the husband has a South African child with a South African wife, it doesn't automatically mean that he can obtain a South African ID. The process is...
Okay, so I want to talk about one of the most interesting topics, which is birth tourism, okay? And I'm going to use 2 countries, South Africa and the USA, in terms of distinguishing what is birth tourism. Now, I'll start with South Africa. In South Africa, most people assume that there is birth tourism, but actually it's a myth. There is no birth tourism. It has never been so of late, according to the current laws and legislation. That means if a foreign national is born in South Africa, they take the nationality of their parents. In the event that one of the parents is a citizen, then the child is born a citizen, okay? But now, Where the foreign nationals are undocumented, then it simply means the child will wait for the parents to be documented before they can get their citizenship or their legal rights. So that is South Africa. In South Africa, a child will take the legal status of the parents, the nationality of the parents. So if the parents are on a temporary visa, the child will get a temporary visa. And if the parents are permanent residents, the child will get relative visa. And if one of the parents is a citizen, then the child is born a citizen. In South Africa, there is what is called citizenship by descent. That is the law they apply, citizenship by descent. Now, let's move next. In terms of the USA, now, USA is a bit different.
I would like to make this video to some of our foreign national brothers. You know, I need to, there's something that dropped in my spirit with regards to child right to citizenship in South Africa. I've seen so many men coming to throw their children, the children that they had with a South African mother. One was flaunting the child on Facebook and say when they ask for his document, he will show them that this is his document. Another one was saying that, oh, in the next 30 years, we should have more kids with South African women because they are tired of being called query query. And then the last one that I saw was the one that was done by this guy called Rich. And that is the main one that I want to speak on, where he flaunts his child. I think the child is a girl, saying that this child is going to become the queen of Amazulu. And, you know, that was very wrong and highly disrespectful. Yes, I know that we all mind our business. He does his things. I do my thing. I'm not here to condemn him. I'm not here to, but I'm just here to correct a particular mentality that we have. And that is this entitlement mentality that we have also passed on to our children. You see, the child given birth to by a foreign father, yes, by law, is a South African citizen through the constitution, by law. But traditionally, culturally, traditionally, that child is still deemed as a foreign national. People will hate me for this, but let me explain. When you had that child with a South African mother, the name on the birth certificate, is it bearing the mother's maiden name? No. The government allowed the child to take your name because the child is your seed. When you were coming to South Africa, you came to South Africa with that child in your loins. And then you put that child inside a South African woman, and a South African woman brought the child forth. And the child took your name. So technically speaking, that child is coming from where you are coming from. But because of the law, which is why I said whatever we enjoy in South Africa is not right, it is privilege. I also have children born to a South African mother. Yes, they are citizens, but they are citizens by privilege, not by right, because I am not a South African man. Culturally. Okay, for instance, now you take a South African woman to Home Affairs to go and marry her. The law, the government, you know, they don't operate, you know, customary law and all those things. You know, they don't ask you if you have taken the woman to her parent and all those things. They just marry you. So by law, government recognize you to be married to her. But culturally, her parent still sees you as an outsider until you come to them and perform the bride price, the lobola and all those traditional stuff. Before now, the family now can recognize you as the husband to their daughter. So for you to say your child will become the queen of Amazulu, you know, it is a disrespect to the Zulu community, to the Zulu tribe, to their culture and tradition. It is a disrespect to the Zulu community, and it should not happen again. You see, if we want South Africans to love our children, I will always say this. We need to respect South Africans first. If we respect South Africans first, our children will be loved and accepted. You see, your children can be South African citizens, but they will never be proudly South African when they are not accepted by their fellow South Africans. Trevor Noah is not, technically, Trevor Noah is not South African citizen if we want to go about it in a cultural way, because Trevor Noah is born to a Swiss father. But South Africans love Trevor Noah the way they love any hero in South Africa. They love Trevor Noah and has accepted Trevor Noah.
In America, the Americans. Why is it that the children who are born in South Africa, they cannot be South Africans? Because these children, they're not from other outside of the South Africa. They are born here, and they are growing up here. But the South Africans, when they go to Europe, they give birth in Europe. They give them nationality as Europeans. When they go to America, they're Americans, but they're South Africans. But when other African nationality, they give birth in South Africa, you call those children to be foreign. Does it make sense?
Well, my wonderful people have heard everything said by South African and also other people. What do you think about this debate now? What do you think about this issue on ground? Do you think that South Africa are doing the best, to restrict their citizenship? Or do you think they should just freely give it to anybody born in South Africa? Where is it done so? Let me know in your comment section. If America is doing it, South Africa is not gonna do it, because they're my in-laws, you understand? There is restrictions now. They do anyhow, you understand?